everybody, my name is Dorian Wild. If you must shorten it, please just call me Dor. So this week I want to talk to you about one of my all-time favorite movies, The Lost Boys. I've been watching this movie since probably about kindergarten, which seems weird, but I don't know, that's just how I was as a kid. And this movie is one of the quintessential movies, I believe, of our time as far as vampires are concerned, because it is a trendsetter. So in this movie, we have the Coreys, the grandpa from the Gilmore Girls, Diane Weiss, Kiefer Sutherland, the hot mom from Still Standing, as well as an appearance by Bill S. Preston Esquire. And if you look really, really, really hard in the background, you'll see Rob Lowe. Or is it Rob Lowe or is it Ian Somerhalder? No, it's Rob Lowe, because it was like 1987. Like, what would Ian be doing in that movie, right? Right? Unless Rob Lowe is Ian Somerhalder, and he's a time traveler. That makes so much sense. Aliens. But I digress. So this movie is about a family that moves from Arizona to Santa Carla, which is the mom's hometown, and on the back of a billboard, as they drive past the welcome sign, the 15-year-old Sam, he notices that it says Santa Carla is the murder capital of the world. And that becomes very important a little bit later in the movie. So Michael starts hanging out with a bunch of metalheads, and he starts partying with them every night. He's college-bound, but he's home for the summer, and they hand him a bottle of wine. And he takes a nice little swig. And turns out it's not really wine, it's actually blood. Like, ew. So he takes a drink of blood without knowing it and ends up becoming a half vampire. But nobody actually tells him this until he starts experiencing some of the changes. And he's only a half vampire until he makes his first kill. Meanwhile, Sam befriends a couple of guys who run their parents' comic shop. They're both 15, Edgar and Alan Frog. Edgar and Alan Frog point out to Sam that the murders in Santa Carla are directly tied to the fact that it is crawling with vampires, and these two have taken it upon themselves to put those bloodsuckers back in their graves because they fight for truth, justice, and the American way. That's right. So what ends up happening is Sam lets them in on the fact that his brothers now have vampire, and they decide that the brothers gotta go. But Sam is like, no, guys, wait, don't do it. This comic that you gave me says that if we kill the head vampire, then all half vampires will return to their normal human state. So that becomes the goal throughout the rest of the movie, is to find out who the head vampire is and kill the head vampire so that they can save the older brother. This movie is a quintessential vampire movie, like I've said, for anyone who is a vampire lover, because it is a trend-setting movie. Before this, most vampires were, they were much more mature. They were usually in their young adulthood, if not full-on, like, late 20s, early 30s adulthood, and they were very old world thinking because most of them were centuries old, and they had experienced much loss and loss of love, and they were very feeling sorry for themselves and didn't really like being vampires at that point in time. And their dress also reflects how old they are because they try to recapture that old world feeling. Whereas in this movie, they're all young. They're all teenagers, and they really take advantage of the fact that they're immortal, and they love it, and they sleep all day, and they party all night, and it's great to be a vampire. That's the tagline from the movie poster, just in case you're wondering. It says it on the box. Anyways, so they're rockers, and this movie is not only full of great adaptations of the vampire myth, bringing it to a contemporary time, but it also has great writing. There's some really fun lines, especially by the grandfather. He is hilarious. I've loved him ever since I was a kid, and I've quoted him on a regular basis, but nobody really knows because nobody's seen the movie. At which point, everyone I know who loves Twilight is like, "What's the Lost Boys?" And I'm like, "You're a bunch of tools. Watch the Lost Boys, because without the Lost Boys, there wouldn't be twinkly vampires." So if the writing doesn't get to you and the all-star cast doesn't get to you, well, then maybe the music would, because the music is awesome. We have a wonderful cover by, not by The Doors. It's originally by The Doors, but there is a great cover of The Doors' People Are Strange. Also a wonderful, beautiful cover of Elton John's Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, which I don't think anyone even knows that song because I've heard it on the radio one time. So unless you're a really big Elton John fan, you wouldn't even know it existed. And that actually plays during the end credits, so it's worth it to watch those credits because that is a fantastic song. So for those of you who claim to be really, really, really into vampires who haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend it. It set a lot of the trends for vampires nowadays. It made them young, they're rockers, they're very glamorous, something that they didn't used to be. They like to party, and it's really an amazing movie. It's entertaining. It's not incredibly deep, but it's also a coming-of-age vampire movie, so it's not really gonna be deep. Just watch it to be entertained. So there's that. Next week I'll be doing part 2 of this, so more vampire talk, less about the films, more about the historical stuff, because I'm a geek, and I gotta put all that knowledge to use somewhere. So please watch the follow-up next week, same time. Every Tuesday is when I'll be posting this, Tuesday evenings. So thank you, and to quote my favorite 90s cartoon, later days, guys.